Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of What We Seek, a podcast born from our curiosity and desire to learn and grow. Each week, we dive into a new topic, things we think we understand, like love, prayer, manifestation, and we ask, what is it really? But seeking isn't just about the answers, it's about the pursuit itself and the connection to something greater. When we seek meaning, we seek knowledge, we seek purpose, because we believe what we seek is also seeking us. And just to introduce myself, I'm Dana,
I'm Yasmin.
and we're really excited to be here. Everything we do is fueled by our desire to learn and grow, because we believe that what we seek is also seeking us. So today, we're going to be talking about manifestation.
Yeah.
Manifestation.
So what is manifestation?
Okay, so this is the way that I love to explain manifestation, and I've given it a lot of thought. But everything you see around you, the chair you're sitting on, the microphone in front of you, the shoes you're wearing, all of those things once only existed as a thought in someone else's head. And it was through the intention and the belief that they created something real. So manifestation is the process of taking something from the unseen and bringing it into the seen. So taking imagination and bringing it into reality.
I actually disagree with that because that would be the word creation and not manifestation. Manifestation is when it goes from the unseen to seen immediately. It
No.
pops out of nowhere.
That's right.
If
you're
you
wrong,
put in
baby.
work into it, then how is it manifestation?
Because in order to manifest, so this is the thing about manifestation. People think that they are manifesting what they want. You're actually manifesting what you believe. So manifestation is actually more about thought, and that thought then creating internal beliefs in your mind that lead to action. So in psychology, there's something called a biochemical feedback loop. Your thoughts create actions that create feelings, and then those ultimately lead to the behaviors you engage in. It's not enough to just think something in order to experience it in your reality. You have to actually act on it. But manifestation is the process of convincing your mind that you already have it. Because the thing with the world we live in is a lot of people believe that everything is impossible. You don't believe that you can have the millions of dollars. It seems like it's something so out of reach. But if you work to it, you can, right?
But if you're working to it, how is it manifestation? You're creating. If there is an input,
Yeah.
a process, and an output, then it's not manifestation.
So the way that I see manifestation, it's that it's the process of convincing your mind that you can actually have what you want. But there is always act. You always have to act on it. You can't just sit there. I think this is a misconception about manifestation. The way that the modern world has twisted it, it's created this belief that you don't actually have to work towards those things, that you just have to attract them into your life. We're going to talk about vibration and energy because that is also a way that we manifest.
Okay, I actually disagree with that because I think that's the modern day definition of what manifestation is. If you have to put work into it, then it's not manifestation, it's creation. Those are two different things.
Not necessarily. So
I'll tell you my personal experience with
Give me.
manifestation. I have sometimes you're just sitting at home and it's really hot and then you crave something. And I think to myself, you know what would be nice? An ice cream. And then my dad walks into the house and he has ice cream in his hand. That was the unseen, the
Coming
scene,
into the scene.
with zero.
okay, but there's actually
Effort.
psychological reasons why that happens.
There is psychological reasons, and I know you know them.
Girl, I'm gonna tell you them.
However, the first definition of what manifestation is, I do not agree with. If it goes into the creation process, then you're working really hard for what you're achieving. If you put
So-
something on a board and there's a picture, there's an image, and you work towards it and you put the effort in,
It's still manifesting because, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. I made a vision board this year, start of this year. I put things that I wanted to experience. One of those things was a podcast. At the start of the year, we were not planning on doing a podcast. We didn't even speak about it. You came into my life and you were like, Dana, let's do a podcast, right? Is that not manifestation?
that is manifestation.
That's manifestation. But what are we doing now? We're creating this episode.
Okay, then I would say it has levels to
It
it.
has to have some form of creation, otherwise you won't bring it into reality.
I've had moments where it has gone from the unseen to seen
But that's
immediately.
what you're referring to as instant manifestation. Instant
Yeah.
manifestation is still different because I think with manifestation, there is some degree of creation with it. And actually, I want to bring this
There
up.
is creation, but unseen creation. It's a mental thing.
It is
You're
mental.
creating in a
100%.
spiritual realm.
100%. You're
Okay.
creating in your mind first,
Yeah.
and then you're bringing it into reality.
Then 100%.
But
There
I
is
think,
creation, but sometimes I feel like the levels of it differ.
yeah, 100%. Also, I wanted to mention this because in the Quran it's mentioned that Allah ahsan al-khaliqun, which means that God is the best of creators. By this word, what can we infer by the word best? It means that there are other creators. So we are all creating. And the way I like to see manifestation is that we are all creating our own versions of reality through the things that we believe, we internalize, and whether we realize it or not, we are always creating.
The Persian word for faith is sarnavisht, and the first part of that word means head, sar, and navish means writing.
Okay,
So you're writing your entire faith
See?
from your mind.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Literally, that is
So
exactly
I like that.
what
Ahsan al
manifestation
khaliqin.
is.
I like to be a khaliqin.
I love that you always disagree with me at first, and then we find like.
I just have to understand you better because
Yeah, we
like,
see the
if-
world differently.
because if like you put something in a manifestation board and you're working so hard towards it, then you just worked for it.
Okay.
But if there is a process of surrenderance and then it flows
Comes,
into
yeah.
your life on different degrees of how it flows into your life, like even this podcast, I did put effort into making
Yeah,
this happen.
100%.
So it wasn't an instant manifestation.
No.
But I've had moments where like you know how like in the cartoons like an apple or like a
Yeah.
some sort of like meat appears in front of you. I've seen that level of manifestation.
Do you know what
too.
it is, though? I'll tell you why that happens. That's because you have no attachment to that. So if it's an apple or something you think of immediately, you can experience it like that because you don't have any subconscious beliefs that block it. I think this is the perfect segue because I wanted to talk about the subconscious and the conscious mind. So this is the parts where like I did a bit of research. So the conscious mind, which is our thinking brain, our problem-solving brain, it's responsible for only 5% of our daily mental activity. Only 5%. The rest of our mental activity is 95%, and it's all the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind governs like everything, like from our automatic body processes, our breathing, our heart rate, but it also governs things like our emotional regulation, how we respond under stress, the beliefs we have. Even things like memory go into the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is extremely powerful. So I said it earlier, like we think that when we manifest, we're manifesting what we think we want. No, you're manifesting what you believe on a subconscious level. So sorry, there was like.
What do you think about when you say that? I think about all the times like a lot of people talk about manifestation. They're like, "Oh, I manifested this trip or like this bag and now it's in my life." But the amount of times we manifest subconsciously bad relationships.
Yeah, girl, everything.
Traumatic behavior of our parents
100%.
that are repeating themselves.
Yeah.
Really toxic individuals who come into our life, and it's like repeating patterns, and like that is also a form of manifestation
1000%.
that you don't have on your wish list.
No, girl, because it's like the thing is, I always say this, and it sounds a little bit harsh, but we have to all take accountability for the life we're living. Now, this is not to say that people in life don't get dealt a more difficult card, but I'm talking about people like, for example, us. We live, alhamdulillah, a fairly good life. We have family that we came from good backgrounds. So a lot of what we experience day to day is then a result of our own beliefs and how we interact with the world. So your subconscious mind and what you believe about the world is fully dictates what you experience.
If you are born in an area where your basic needs are met, there is a Maslow's theory of
Hierarchy of needs.
yeah, exactly. And if those basic needs are met, the rest of it is all on you.
100%. That's the best way to put it.
So I don't like when people like nag about things because I can literally look at them and I know where the problem is.
100%.
But it's very difficult for people to sit down with themselves and have to deal with that subconscious mind. And that's why Sufis say we have 7 layers to the subconscious mind. And those 7 layers are your nafs.
Really?
So you know how we have like
okay,
the iceberg theory with like, was it Jung or Freud?
The iceberg theory was Freud, subconscious,
Freud.
conscious mind.
Yeah. So
id, ego.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read into psychology.
We both need to take like an intro to psych course again.
Yeah. I just started, and then after a while, I was like, no one's listening to what I'm saying, so I just let it go.
I have a minor in psychology. You studied psychology too, girl.
I'm a clinical psychologist.
Yeah, she's a clinical psychologist, guys. Yasmina's a clinical psychologist.
Like, I realized there's a lot of people who just want to like throw up on you emotionally. Nobody's actually listening for advice to better their life, so I just let that go. So with the iceberg theory, there is that like level of the iceberg that's unseen, representing the subconscious mind. Sufis say that's your nafs.
Okay, that's
and that you are not in control of your nafs, and that the nafs has 7 layers. So they name those layers. When you start practicing things practically, consciously into your life, you start taking control of those 7 nafses. When you start taking control of your 7 nafses, that's when like you start dreaming, you start seeing a lot of things come to your awareness, but it always starts with that self-realization that you do have a subconscious mind that is creating without your permission.
Always.
I just want to cough. And by the way, that's something like a lot of people don't look into. Like they don't sit with themselves enough to know that there is a subconscious mind that's creating. Because like for me, I realized that when I looked around me and I saw there was a lot of repetitive patterns.
100%. Yeah.
And that none of those things were matching my manifestation board. And then I came to the realization that there must be something that I'm attracting to, because I'm attracting something without even realizing it, and it was not
what you wanted.
Exactly.
Not at all. But it's, you know, I think it's like actually super, super interesting when we think about it, because we always think that, like I said, we're manifesting what we want, but your subconscious mind internalizes everything, right? So from the age of 0 to 7, you're pure subconscious mind. Your brain is what's called a theta brainwave. So you're
from what age to what age?
From when you're born till the age of 7.
Okay.
That's when it starts to veer off. So your pure subconscious mind, you're literally a sponge. So you absorb everything. So even hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees, success is for a few, not everyone can have what they want.
So
you absorb it.
Okay, but if in the beginning we're purely just the subconscious mind, how come when we're younger we manifest faster?
Because we're pure. We don't have any. Sorry, I cut you off, but that's the exact example. Children manifest things like this because they don't have limiting beliefs.
So could it be that like because we're more innocent and we have a better connection to divine and our higher selves, we're manifesting faster? So we're one of the khaliqins or creators, but how come at a certain age it starts to deteriorate?
I'll tell you why.
Are we polluting?
Yes. So if you think of a clear glass of water, right?
Okay.
A child is a clear glass of water. Then slowly you add in a little bit of sand. You add in a little bit of mud. You add in a little bit of dirt. What happens? The water is going to get polluted. It's now no longer a clear glass of water. It has all of these beliefs and thoughts that come from the world around it.
Isn't it interesting how like at that age, that's the exact age we need to start praying?
Yeah. We actually mentioned this.
Because we start like practicing our willpower, and we talked about this. So once you start practicing your willpower, and this is the thing with Sufis, they're like, practice your willpower to take control of that subconscious mind again and purify it, because it will be polluted.
Yeah, 100%. And if you think about it, the best way like to purify it, so if you have that glass of water, if you keep adding clear water into it, which is like good thoughts, pure energy, good intentions, and good beliefs, eventually the water is going to turn clear again. But it's your active responsibility to choose and filter what you accept into your glass of water. So are you going to accept thoughts that are negative, that are going to drain you, things that are not good for you? Are you going to engage in things that you know your body doesn't like? Or are you going to decide, no, I want a clean, clear glass of water? And you're going to drink that at the end of the day. It's your water. And you know, if you think about it, the devil can be represented in many forms. And I think one of those things is doubt and negative thoughts in the mind.
The devil can be represented in many things, and one of them is extra desires of manifestations you don't need.
Oh yeah.
How about
Okay.
that?
Oh, this is a really good
Let's
one.
get back on topic of manifestation and the fact that so many of us are manifesting subconsciously things that are horrible for us.
Yeah.
But one of the things I used to always tell people is one of the best examples of manifestation that I read about or knew about growing up was the former queen of Iran.
Okay.
So Farah Pahlavi was the last queen of Iran, and she wasn't royal. The first queen was the Egyptian princess, and the second one was this beautiful actress, and it makes sense why the Shah would want to be with her. Farah Pahlavi was just a student, and she had no connection to the royal family. And she was studying in France, and she was the only Persian student in Paris while she was studying. In her notebooks, every day, she talks about this in her document. She would write Farah Pahlavi because she was obsessed with the Shah, and like she really liked him. And she had this Afghan friend who would like tell her that it suits her to be a queen. So then she starts like engaging in this fantasy where she's the queen of Iran. And maybe she had a really high vibration and she manifested that for herself.
Okay.
But she got what she wanted in life and she enjoyed those years being the queen. But she was also the queen who lost everything.
No.
The country, her husband, and two of her children committed suicide. So she did end up getting what she wanted, but at the cost of everything. She was also the queen who lost it all.
I just got chills when you said that.
So the other day I was sitting with my family, with my mom's friends, and one of them looked at me and she said, you know, because they were like talking about my mom really like always tells me like I should get married. My mom always tells me that I should get married. Maybe this is my sign.
It's shaking.
And then her friends were sitting there and one of them was like, you know what, I applaud your persistency of not wanting to, persistency or consistency persistency of not persistence. There's no C.
No. That's consistency.
So one of my mom's friends was telling me that I admire your persistence in not wanting to get married.
Okay.
And I was like, I was really like, I liked what she said. And she said to me, she was like, look at us all in the room. When we're younger, we all asked for a guy, like a certain characteristics that we liked. All of us married that same exact guy. I wanted a rich husband. I got a rich husband. She wanted a good-looking husband. Her husband was the best-looking one out there. And like each one of them wanted certain things. One of them wanted a man of God or whatever they wanted. She's like, all of us got what we wanted, and we realized it was never what we wanted.
Yeah, because they manifested what society told them that they should have or
want. Or they manifested their subconscious desires.
100%.
They manifested with that glass that was like muddy.
Yes.
And now it's looking back at them as a form of a husband.
Okay, now I have a really, really good story. I mean? Now that you've said this, I'm going to divulge some personal details since we're talking about the topic of manifesting partners.
I think the minute I mentioned my mom wanting me to get married, we're past the mentioning.
Okay, so basically, this is back in 2019. The first time I had ever heard of manifestation, okay? At the time, I was watching a lot of different YouTubers, and they were saying how you can attract into your life the love you've always wanted to receive, right? You can attract the partner you've always dreamt of. Write a list with all the qualities that you want in a person. So I'm sitting there, and I'm writing exactly what you said. Like, the most ridiculous list of traits you could ever imagine in a person. Like, I put down the height, I put down the age. Actually, no, I didn't put the age. I put down the height, I put down the languages they could speak. I wrote that they were generous, ambitious, had a business. I wrote down so many things. One thing that was super random that I wrote down was that they can sing or are like in the music industry. Okay, and so just a super, super specific list that you would read and think, okay, where are you gonna meet this person? Like down to something where I wrote speaks English and Arabic, maybe Spanish and French. I was like a little sprinkle on there. Okay, tell me how, like maybe a couple of years later, I meet this exact man. Like I could check off every single thing on that list, right? But guess what? He came into my life just as quickly as he left. He didn't stay. And that was the most
Maybe that's the part
painful.
you forgot to write.
No, literally, but that was also
Dear
the
Santa.
yeah, literally. But it was also the most painful and traumatic experience I ever went through. I manifested a person who literally love bombed me, was my exact perfect person, but he didn't stay in my life. He gave me what I needed and what I wanted, what I thought I wanted for a very temporary short amount of time, and then he couldn't actually show up for me in the way that I deserved.
So for me, it's never, the thing with me is like my first time with manifestation. I don't know if you guys remember this, but do you guys remember 2012 when the book Secret came out?
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
Yeah, do you guys remember that? Yeah.
It's like the book
Yeah?
Secret.
I can't remember anyone's
I don't
name.
remember if
There's
it was
Bill.
a woman or
There's
some.
Bill, someone named Bill, I think.
I don't know who it was, but I remember reading that book and there was like so many documentaries about it.
Yeah.
And I watched this as a kid and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I've been doing all this time. I was the type of kid because, you know, like I'm very spiritual and like I used to astral travel and stuff. Like when I was younger, I was very in tune. And I remember when this book came out and I read some of it. I read it in Virgin Megastore, like back in the day.
That's
Was
OG.
it? Yeah, like really back in
Yeah.
Dubai. Or was it Wafi Mall? They had this like library. I don't remember. So I read the book and I thought to myself, that's what I've been doing all my life. Like I was a master manifester. I used to think of things the next day or the same second I would get them. And like out of nowhere, like people would come into my life, give me something and leave it. And it was just very basic stuff, you know? And obviously like as a kid, you don't have like desires for like a Bentley. You just have like I don't know
Yeah, like, I
candy
want
or
ice
something.
cream,
Yeah.
candy, yeah.
And my mom, it got to a point where my mom would like if she wanted to sell something or she wanted to do something like online, she would always tell me or like win a lottery or something. She would be like, "You touch it," or like
Good
you
luck.
click the button because you
Yeah.
have good luck and it will come. It was to the point where like I would literally maybe if I wanted a new phone, I would look at NBC2 used to have these like draws of like people winning stuff, and I used to like manifest stuff and like apply once and like win, like constantly be a winner in my life. And then suddenly all of that stopped. And my entire self discovery journey was based on the fact that I knew I was a master manifester and I no longer could manifest. And obviously there was like personal things that were happening in my life and it was like affecting me without me realizing. But like when I look at my manifestation board, it has never been for a person because I don't believe in drawing people in. And I also I think that's really evil for me to sit there and with use my power to manifest you into my life. I almost feel like it should be forbidden to like sit there and think of a celebrity all the time and
Yeah.
then like end up with them and you're almost like
You're
it's
using
like magic. It's like witchery.
No,
It's
yeah.
like seduction to a level of like where you know as a human being you're powerful and that we're all creators and you use that to like draw someone else in. So I've never done that. Like in my mind or in my soul, I've always known that's wrong. But my board, like even when my sister saw my like vision board, she was like, it's funny that like even your family members are not on it. And I realized I don't even do that for human beings because I practice detachment and I don't want anything in my life because like human beings like cause an attachment or like physical things you can let go easily as we're like children or like family members. So I, as a Sufi, I practice detachment and I don't have
stoicism,
anyone.
yeah.
And this could be like a flaw that I have that like I don't,
Your
I'm
own
such a lone
traumas,
wolf.
maybe,
I think I'm just a lone wolf. Like I don't perceive the world.
the way others do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at it in like a herd where you have to like have like a group of
Yeah.
individuals that you all satisfy one another. I've never been like that. But like all my manifestations was when I was younger, you guys, I had this dream that I'm going to go to Hollywood. I just knew that I have to go and I have something important that I have to do. And like it was something that like I knew like when I was 9 years old. I just knew something has to happen. And I didn't even know what Hollywood initially was, but I was in this like play and I really enjoyed the attention I got from people looking at me and me improvising. And so I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. I just didn't know it's Hollywood. So when I learned it, my entire manifestation board was Hollywood. Later on, when I start diving into my spiritual journey and I realized I was saved by not ever going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking, am I not manifesting enough? I didn't even want to go to like Hollywood to become an A-lister. I just wanted to like be there.
But you know what's interesting is like you just said that you're a master manifester, right?
Yeah.
You're maybe more in tune with your higher self. So maybe on a conscious level, you were manifesting from your conscious mind that you wanted to go to Hollywood, but subconsciously and your higher self knew
For
that
sure.
wasn't a part of your path and your journey, and that's why it didn't come into being. I think a lot of the times we need to pay attention to the things we think we want, because so much of what we want in this life is actually not shaped by our own internal desires or our own internal compass and GPS. It's shaped by what the world tells us we should want. So if you actually sit with yourself, you know, do you want that Ferrari? Do you want that mansion in Beverly Hills? Or is it just something that you think is a luxury that would be nice to have because this is what society has conditioned you to believe? And that's like such a powerful example of that, because you literally distinguished between dreams that weren't even yours to begin with.
And also, like that Hollywood example I give, because if your subconscious mind is not only darkness, it has light within it.
Yeah.
It's just unseen to you, but
Yeah.
obviously it's your connection to the divine.
Yeah.
And it's your connection to God. So that will never go fully dark.
No.
It will always have like a shining light at the end of the tunnel that will lead you back home or on the right
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
And when we pray as Muslims, we always ask for guidance of being one with our Sirat al-Mustaqim, which is our divine path towards light.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly also praying for that, and your subconscious mind is getting distracted by like external sources, that light starts balancing things out. So for me, like with Hollywood, you guys, I had so many, because I got also accepted to uni to go abroad and study. So I could have gone. The amount of things that went wrong in my life that didn't even let me, until today, I haven't gone abroad to study because of those things.
Yeah.
So like when this greater good comes into your life and stops some things from you receiving those things, it's not a bad thing.
No, 100%.
You just have to give it time to realize what it was good for.
Yeah.
Make sense?
No, it
I
makes
touched the mic again, sorry.
It 100% makes sense, because if you think about it, there's always that very famous saying, God doesn't give you what you want, he gives you what you need. And if you connect it to that, I think that sums it up perfectly. You never know when things don't work out. I always actually believe that they're working in your favor. I went through something myself recently where most people would think, oh, this is horrible. What are you going to do next? And I actually see it as such a big blessing. I won't share it now. I'll share it maybe in the coming podcasts. But I see it as the biggest blessing, because God was literally telling me, you've been going in this direction, but actually there's something so much better for you over here. You just can't see it yet. And if you can really let go and trust that everything is actually working out in your favor, you're going to manifest things that you can't even dream of, right? Because so many of us are so full of limiting beliefs.
So then we get to Rumi's poems and their
Okay.
actual meaning. And he says to you, he's like, you think God doesn't want all those good things for you? The stars, the moons, the entire earth, everything you see in front of you was created for you to enjoy. But you're so caught up in so many external things that you don't even get to enjoy it when it comes to you.
Yeah.
And the main focus of a lot of his poetry is surrenderance to God.
God.
Or that GPS system that we talked about in the first episode, where we talk about this like auto drive, where you surrender and lay back and let your higher self or the divine, whatever you want to give it, whatever name you want to give it, guide you towards what is actually meant for you.
Yeah.
And what is actually meant for you is all the good things your soul has chosen before it came here.
Yeah.
None of us have chosen suffering and all these things. We just get so caught up in like what is meant to be life, or like societal perspective of what good life should be.
Yeah.
That then when we even have those things, we put it under our pillows and cry. Because now we're looking for other things.
Yeah.
Like when do we ever take time? Like if, let's say a lot of girls nowadays want Birkins, okay? You know how many times I went shopping and like I come home and I look at it and I put it to the side? And then like maybe I'm just so distracted with actual life, like I don't even get to
You don't
enjoy this thing.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And that's why I had to like say no to a lot of material things. But I do live in a material world.
So you
So
still want them.
being conscious of like surrenderance, but then having to like pay rent is very contradicting also. So I understand why people on their manifestation boards have a lot of physical things,
Yeah.
because they think those physical things will take them to worldly pleasures where they're safe, secure, loved, beautiful. But then you realize all of those things are not, like, I hate to say this, but like I see a lot of like TikToks and people are like, money doesn't bring you happiness, and those people don't know what it's like to sit in a Bentley. Bro, I know a lot of girls who cry in Bentleys, and like they cry because they have real things to cry about.
Yeah.
So you say that because you're not in that perspective. Once you get that husband you manifested and you look at him and he represents everything that's wrong in your life, or that like hollow feeling that you have within that no ocean can fulfill, then you sit there and you're like, maybe the
You're
Bentley
sad,
wasn't it.
No, but it's so true, because you can have everything only to then later realize it means nothing. And that's such a powerful point, because again, we are caught up by worldly desires, the shiny things around us. But that's not the core essence of what our heart really wants.
But that's the thing. This is why I always told you manifestation is evil. Because we originally in the East have manifestation, and we've spoken about manifestation. When you go to India and read Sanskrit, or like all of their like work with the Vedas, and then when you look at like the works of Jesus Christ, like the original Bible talks about manifestation and like speaking in terms of I am, so that you receive those things.
Yeah.
We have that across cultures here on the East. But anytime the West gets the hold of anything we Easterners have, that's the art of colonization. Like they take our ideas, they take sushi, which is like a dish filled with like omega-3, all the good things that can help your hair, skin, you know, and then they take that and make it like dynamite shrimp with like extra mayo. Or like they take yoga, which is the art of like surrenderance and sitting in one place in peace where you start self-discovering, and then they sell it for you for like $30 in like hot yoga. Now you have to go there and strip and like sit there in a sauna with other people, and it takes the whole purpose of it away. So manifestation is not going and sitting by the full moon. Like I've done a lot of reading, you guys, like as we go along in the podcast, you will know more about me and my background in spirituality. I've done a lot of research on books, like occult books, just reading about magic and you know, certain groups, like, and what they do, and like I'm really interested in things like this, and just knowing the truth. And never have I come across the full moon being used in a good way.
It's always a cult.
It is always an occult group. It's always a man turning into a werewolf. It's always when witches get together and perform magic. So what makes you think it's a good idea to pay like 200 or 300 dirhams to sit with a group of ladies who are also acting from a place of their subconscious mind, their unhealed wounds, and then get together on a full moon
With
and
all
then
that energy.
manifest
Yeah.
together as a group?
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, the thing is, whether people want to say that the moon affecting your body and your internal state is pseudoscience or not, there's a lot of debate with that. But at the end of the day, we've talked about this a lot. Everything is energy. Everything that exists around us is energy. If you think about the moon, it's a really large object. When it is a full moon, the mass probably affects our bodies. It probably does increase our vibrational frequency.
For sure.
I haven't researched into this enough to speak on it properly, but you're right. It's a really powerful time. So if we are using the full moon and the energy of that, let's say, to manifest things, and they're not things that are actually in tune with our highest selves,
Okay, so
we're creating things that are essentially evil.
the full moon could be used. You could say that your vibration is raising because you're 70% water, the full
I don't know if
moon.
I believe that because you're encased. You know, if you think about the ocean is not encased in water. So, of course, it's going to affect the tides because that's the argument people make, right? That
Yeah,
the
true.
full moon affects the ocean,
Yeah.
but the ocean is not encased by anything. So, of course, the mass is going to pull it
Let's say there is an effect, okay?
on the body.
It would be a subconscious effect where you can sit with yourself in the privacy of your home, and it's always a good idea to look within and see what you lack and where things are.
Yeah.
It's never a good idea to take all of those lackings, sit together in a group and manifest something as a group.
No, yeah. Because you're also then maybe not only manifesting your desires, it's someone else's.
First of all, anytime you see a girl with a mood board, it's someone else's desires.
Oh, yeah. Like
I'm
the Pinterest
sorry
board.
to say this out loud, but if you have like a Pinterest board of like wifey or like a wedding dress or like a Range Rover, where did you get those ideas from?
Yeah.
Some other woman's page, Instagram page, she posted it, you wanted it, and now it's on your page. So everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. Like you've never actually sat down with yourself to see what it is you want.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, it's actually really interesting. Sometimes when we manifest and you look at someone else's life from the outside and you wish for that life, you don't know what that person's life is actually like, right? So I
For
can look
sure.
at you and think like, well, oh my God, Yasmin has the nicest bags, the nicest clothes, everything. But I don't know what your day-to-day life is like. And I don't know the experiences that you've had to go through to get where you are. So sometimes when we manifest what
You
we
don't
see,
know the price I've paid
To be
for those
100%.
items.
You don't know.
You don't know what Farah gave to become the
Yeah.
queen.
Yeah, that's very true.
You could have lost so much in pursuit. The thing with manifestation and why I say it's evil is because in a worldly in this dunya, the only time that you can out of nowhere get something is when there's an exchange. Anytime there's an exchange, that is considered in Sufism evil. Because the only time that if God gives, he gives unconditionally. There is no exchange. God will give you something and then you get to keep it. But whenever you see like movies, you know how like you have to sign your soul in order to get some stuff? Or like there's an exchange between two people, and normally whether it's an exchange with a fairy or like a being, a magical being that like just pops out of nowhere and gives you things. Has that ever, in even movies that are supposed to be fictional, but obviously they're based on like, they just mix the truth with like lies and they just feed it to you and you think it's fictional. But when has interactions like that ever been ended up in a nice place?
Yeah, because
You always end up giving more
Yeah.
than you bargained for.
Yeah.
Or in the end, there's a twist.
Okay. Yeah.
So anytime manifestation of something happens where there's an exchange, where you have to give to receive, and sometimes you might not even be conscious of what it is you're giving.
giving away.
You could be you're giving your energy.
Yeah.
So much energy to manifest a husband that you didn't need in the first place.
Yeah.
That becomes the root cause of all your problems. And your energy is your highest exchange rate. Why would you give all of that energy
Away.
to then sit with something that you don't like?
Yeah.
So that's why Sufis say it's evil, because it's an exchange. But prayer, a manifestation where you receive from God, no one can take away what God gives you. You get to keep that because God has a lot to give. Does that make sense?
No, 100% it makes sense. I think also it's interesting because a lot of the times people will separate manifestation and prayer. I think prayer, when we pray, when we make dua, we are also manifesting things. We talked about it in the last episode, the power of intention and belief. So when you pray, you are actually creating those things, not just through the divine, but through that intention that you create in your mind and the ability to believe that you can have them. But I see your point about it being evil. I disagree in that it is fully evil. I think at its core, inherently, most things in life are good. Manifestation is one of those things that I believe is good, but human beings can turn it into something evil.
For sure. But I do think that so you said first I have to address the manifestation and prayer thing. When we pray, we also pray for states of mind.
Yes.
No one manifests a state of permanent happiness. It's normally a Birkin bag. It's normally something physical.
Yeah.
So prayer is divine in that sense. However, I do think personally, in my personal experience, because I've just gone through so much, manifestation to me is at the root of all evil, because it's an exchange of these dunya things, like the worldly things, and also, and anything that's an attachment to this dunya, that you would put all that energy for what? Why would you do that? If you understand that you are God's best creation and you have so much power within you, why would you use all that power instead of serving others and helping out and focus it on an item?
So again, you're not, what you're talking about is not saying manifestation is evil. It's the use of the way that we manifest can be evil, because whether we want to agree to it or not,
Okay.
we are here in this world. We are human beings. We have desires. Yes, that is a test a lot of the time from Allah, but we cannot void the fact that we are here. We will have temptation from everything around us, right?
Yeah.
So to say that you want to manifest certain things you want to experience, I think, yes, it can be evil when you are so focused purely on the material. But when you think about what manifestation is, and the definition I gave at the beginning of the podcast, I said that manifestation is taking things from the unseen into the seen. It's creation in a way, right? You don't have to create evil, right? Right now, what we're doing, the intention of this podcast was pure. And the way that it came to be, yes, I had it on a vision board. I'm not saying that's the reason it happened, but maybe I attracted that more.
Yeah.
So that is not evil in its essence. But the way that we use it, it can be. So I think there's like a...
Do you think between the... You say that we're in this dunya, and obviously we all want safety, we want security, we want good things, we want comfort. It's ours to begin with.
Yeah.
We understand that this entire world was put for us to enjoy, but somehow we're stuck in this matrix where everything has become about the worldly things. And we're all slowly trying to detach from that. We realize that we have that inner consciousness. But this is the thing with manifestation. If you're manifesting, for me, anyone who has not done any self-discovery, if you have not put time to sit with yourself, see where it is you're at, where you used to be, what is your behavior, like traumatic patterns of behavior, what is your ancestral trauma, what do you think your soul has come here to do, and then you're manifesting, that's evil. That's a blind man with the power of atomic bomb creating chaos.
Yeah.
And eventually, when you realize that this idea of pantheism, that we're all one, you manifesting something that doesn't belong to you is creating problems for all of us.
For all of us. Yeah.
Why is it that 1% of the world have all the money and the rest of us are sitting here juggling? Are you good at manifestation? Like, is that too...
Again, I don't disagree with that. You're right about that. But again, it's like modern medicine. Medicine can cure people, right? Medicine can cure, but it can also kill. So you're saying, is medicine evil?
Yeah.
It's
saying...
It's the same thing. It's what you do with it. Yeah, there are some things that are just generally bad. Like if you ask me, the atomic bomb. Yeah, that's evil.
I agree with you 100%. I just have to come into this conversation in opposition so we can like go back and forth and understand the meaning better. And also, I need to be in opposition. So by being like contradicting to you, I'm trying to raise awareness for people who are watching this of the dangers of it.
This is going to be the episode name, The Dangers of Manifestation.
Like you manifesting a home is not the cause of all evil. However, I'm saying a lot of people are doing this in selfish deeds.
100%. And the people in power, definitely.
And the people on with the power don't have to be the 1%. We can just look at the people of power who have a home, who have a yoga studio, and then put advertisement for women. So they're acting from their subconscious mind. None of them have gotten to a place where they are aware or woken enough to know what they want in their life, and then they start selling techniques to other people. Come here, breathe, pay 200 dirhams to breathe with the full moon. You know, when you start looking into the works of Ibn Arabi or a lot of like Sufis and Islamic scholars, you realize that a lot of them speak about the full moon in negative light. For example, in Arabic, we have this phrase, Amar dar Aghrab, okay? So it means the moon is in Scorpio. When the moon is in Scorpio, all of these scholars talk about how there are unnecessary portals between the realms, the veils of the dimensions that are open, that are not good. Or when there is a full moon, the veils of the different dimensions thinner. So now you're sitting there, you're writing a manifestation, and let me tell you one thing.
Girl, she has an agenda against the full moon.
I have an agenda towards like all of this new modern spirituality. It's really evil.
Yeah, it is.
So one of the things I saw online, I saw this like Instagram post where they were like, write this number on your walls or on your carpets or inside the wallet so that you get more money. Ooh. This is the number for abundance. Ooh. If you know anything about abjad numeric system and you understand that numbers are attached to words and words are attached to, and beings can use that to summon other beings, when you understand that black magic is, they use like shapes and numbers to summon demonic beings or jinn, why would you take a number? Why would you tell people to write a number in their house? So now a portal can open in their house and they can come in. Why would you tell young girls to write a number on their wrist to manifest a boyfriend or a husband when that's a summoning? If someone has their third eye open, or if they're a medium, or if they have shafafia, in Arabic we call it shafafia, you would know that all of those things, they tell you to write a letter and then in the end put a star and some shapes and throw this in the water. What you're doing is basically making a Solomon seal, throwing it in the water, and the first jinn that lives in the water will get attached to it. And guess who summoned that jinn? A 14-year-old girl who's trying to manifest safety, security, maybe a better life, maybe love in her life. This is what manifestation has become. This is why in 2012, when the book Secret came out, anytime the West really gets on something and they're hyped up about it, I know something's wrong.
Yeah, you're like, something smells fishy here.
Yeah, like why are you all suddenly talking about manifestation? Why has this become, anytime something becomes really popular in the Western world or on social media, doubt it.
Yeah.
Doubt it 100%, because why is it a train of thought suddenly that everyone's jumping on this bandwagon to manifest?
Yeah, you're right. It's not right. It's something so darker is at play.
I know you sit at home with your like Quran and your prayer beads and you're like, yeah, I want to use my energy for a better life. I understand that, girl. But I also know that there is so many things happening that are extremely demonic or in a low vibration.
You're right.
And that's the example of a scientist who either creates the cure for cancer or the atomic bomb. Yeah. And you need to understand that, just like Dana said, you are one of the khalaqeens. You are one of the creators. And what is it you're creating? Absolute chaos within your life. Like, let's say you manifest a really bad husband. Whose life are you affecting? 2 people who are married, your families, his family, your kids, all of
generations to come.
Yeah. So when I say the idea of pantheism and that we're all one, there's this beautiful quote by Sadi, and it says, "Bani Adam azay yekdigaran." Like, I don't want to butcher the quote, okay? So the poem says, like, we're all one, a part of one super organism. And there's Greek philosophers who talk about this idea. It's called pantheism. It's like the theory of pantheism, that we're all one and that we're all connected to God, and that we all have this power of creation within us. Like, women have the power of creation to the point that we can like create life. So why are you teaching people to use this power against themselves? It's becoming a weapon against your own life. Now you're sitting there by the side of the street. You're homeless. You're countryless. Your 2 kids have committed suicide. I mean, if Farah Pahlavi ever watches this, I'm sorry to go in on you, girl, like this. I know it was really painful, but I used that example to like, because it was just such a famous thing and she's talked about the power of manifestation.
No, it makes sense. And I think if we have to give like a word of advice to the audience when it comes to manifesting, don't manifest what you think you want. manifest the way that you want to feel. Because if you think about when we break it down into the core essence of feelings, you want to feel love, you want to feel joy, you want to feel peace. You're never going to attract anything negative into your life because those are all positive feelings and positive states of beings. Where it becomes an issue is when you say, I want to attract love. And then you're like, he's 6'4" and he sings and then you're going to attract chaos because you're putting a face to it.
What about like if we give people a list, like, first of all, why do you want that thing?
Yeah.
The why and the who, and all of those questions are very important. Why do you want that thing? And then like if it's because my friend has it, maybe it's not a good reason to manifest it.
100%.
Maybe I'll be heard. Maybe that's not. You can go to therapy for that. Like you can be heard in other ways than like, you know, becoming an actor and like ruining your whole life. So I feel like, first of all, ask yourself a question of why it is you want that thing.
Yeah.
Is it a need? Like if you're manifesting a home, you need it because it brings you safety, it brings you security, you have a place to go to, it brings you peace of mind.
But even when you are trying to manifest a home, if you think of the end feeling, what is it? It's safety and comfort. Manifest safety and comfort, you will automatically, as a byproduct, attract a home. It's always the end feeling that we should manifest.
Okay, so do you agree with me when I say manifesting in the modern sense is evil? We should go back to praying. If you're manifesting a feeling, then you're just praying.
No, I agree with you. But I also want to touch on the thing. So we talked about all of this, but we didn't address for many people that don't even believe manifestation is real.
Oh, can I just give you an example of manifestation for me? So Donna knows this. I'm an astro traveler. So like ever since I was a kid, I knew how to astro travel. And like I told you guys,
explain what astro traveling is for people that haven't
astro traveling is, for some reason, I know how to, when I go to sleep, I'm still awake. I get out of my body and I start moving around the house. Like I go around the house, I go to the neighbor's house. And like initially it started as like, my mom would like tell me to go to bed, and then I would go to my cousin's house to play. So the next day I would tell them about me being in my cousin's house, and I would tell them, yeah, I saw like auntie do this and auntie do that and stuff. And they were like, no, you were not even here, and you were in your bed, you were sleeping. And then it got like weird, okay?
So it was real. Like you actually went and saw those places, experienced those things.
Yeah, or like sometimes like guests would come over to our house and like I would be sleeping, but I would go in the living room and just chill by the living room area. And then my mom would, and I would hear all their conversations. All the conversations they didn't want me to hear because a kid shouldn't hear.
Yeah.
So I would then, my mom would like punish me, and she was like, you were eavesdropping, or like you were not sleeping, but I was actually sleeping. So it was astro traveling. So one of the things, so for me, I was a master manifester. And like I've been astro traveling for a really long time. Like I don't do it often anymore because I've gotten, anyway, there's like a science to it. But I used to do it a lot when I was younger. And that's why I was also a master manifester. I just knew how energy works, and I knew we're all energy, and that if I want something, I can instantly have it. Like when I dream, for example, let's say like, you know how sometimes in your dream, like there's a being or like there's something chasing you and you're running and you're like, God, I'm not fast enough. Why am I not fast enough? I would literally manifest a scooter, and the energy around me would get shaped like a scooter, and I would start skating, and I would be like, look at me, I'm fast enough now. So I knew how to like manipulate energy. Okay. If you want to say that. So everything is energy. I knew how to manipulate it, and I was a master manifester. Okay. You know how like in dreams you go from one state to another, you go from one place to another?
Yeah, but for people that like genuinely don't believe in manifestation, you telling them about astro traveling is going to also...
Yeah, true. But...
I think it's so
But
cool,
it's all
though.
connected.
I don't mean to dismiss it. No, I think
understand,
it's cool.
But like it's all connected. Because when you say that you are creating from a place of unseen... To a lot of people, dreaming is the unseen world.
That's true.
And they don't understand that that's actually a parallel universe. There are veils in this world.
You know what we need to do? We need to do a full episode on what are dreams.
We need to do that. But like if you're someone who doesn't even believe in jinn, then you don't believe in manifestations either.
Yeah, because I don't know if those people will listen to our podcast anyways. But in case there are people like that, we have science.
Yeah, and you backed it up with science. I'm gonna be here for the spiritual aspects of it, but like I've had things happen to me where like I instantly got something. For example, later when I got older, this is a physical one. Later when I got older, there was this book by Florence Scovel. Skovelshin, yeah. And her ideas, she writes a book about, um, her book is mainly focused on the Bible and the works of Jesus Christ in manifestation, but she doesn't phrase it that way. But it's like prayers and how you can instantly want things. Because a lot of people in Christianity talk about how Jesus spoke of manifestation. So she talks about it, and she says that you need to surrender and that you need to ask unconditionally. So you say a phrase like, God, bring me this thing under grace in miraculous ways.
Yeah, with ease and grace.
With ease and grace. And I would repeatedly say that. And I would say, like, I want 15,000 dirhams under grace in miraculous ways. And literally,
You wouldn't get it.
I would
You
get
would?
it immediately.
You know, you can also say with ease and grace for my best and highest.
Okay, so let me tell you this certain situation. I needed 15K fast, and I was younger. Like, nobody was going to give it to me. Something happened where my dad's friend came over town. He literally had like extra money. He gave me 15,000 dirhams. He traveled the next day. And like instantly I got what I wanted. Like, it happened to me so fast.
But again, it's like, I think sometimes it's the attachment. A lot of the times when we don't manifest, it's because we don't believe we can. But I want to talk about it from a scientific perspective as well.
Okay.
So
I think you'll do better because all of mine is like mysticism.
No, I love it. I love it so much. I love that you astro travel and you have all of these really cool explanations. I feel like the episode on dreaming is going to be kick-ass.
Yeah, I don't know, but like tell us about like manifestation scientifically, because I know you know a lot and I've heard them.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the placebo effect is a phenomenon in the medical industry, basically, where you can give someone a medication. It's not a real medication. It's a placebo. So it's like literally a sugar pill. You give it to them and you tell them this is going to make you feel better. And then they actually feel better just by taking the placebo, right? So there have been so many different studies on the power of placebo. I will include some of them in the citations below. But what placebo implies is that when your mind believes something, when you believe that what you're taking is going to help you and actually make you feel better, it actually creates a physiological response in the body and you do start feeling better. There was a study done on patients with IBS. They gave them a pill and they knew it was placebo, right? So they were told that this pill is not a real pill. 20% of the patients still felt better just by taking a sugar pill. And when you think of that, that really illustrates the staggering effects of the power of the mind, right? When you believe something, it becomes real. And one of my favorite quotes is actually by Henry Ford. It says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So if you think you can do something, you can do it. If you think you can't, you can't. There's no way. If I tell you right now, move that bag, and you're like, there's no way, it's so heavy, you literally won't be able to.
You know how when people like tie an elephant to a stick and it just stays there?
Move. Yeah, it's literally the same thing. But then there's more to it. So what we want to get into then is neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change. So our brain is not rigid. We used to think that the brain was like a computer, fixed parts and fixed programming. But what neuroplasticity tells us is that the brain is literally plastic, so it's malleable. So what you put into it will create an output. This is how all our habits and our beliefs are formed. So what's really interesting is that when we look at neuroplasticity, it shows that visualization can literally change the brain. So this is a really interesting study. It was conducted in 1999. They had two different groups of people, and they were actually exercising. It says here it was a finger muscle. So they were exercising their fingers, right? So there was one group that literally moved their finger, okay? And there was one group that literally just visualized it. So they had no physical activity, okay? And this is the results. The physical training group increased strength by 30%. The group that just did visualization, they increased strength by 22% without even lifting a finger, just by visualizing it. So when you engage in mental rehearsal, you're literally strengthening those neural pathways and you get better at whatever it is you're trying to do. So even if you're someone that, let's say you want to dance, you want to play basketball, when you just rehearse those things in your mind, you actually get better at it. And that's literally the power of the mind. If we want to sum manifestation up for the people that don't believe it in a mystical way, it's literally using your mind to get whatever you want in life. And that, I think, is like a really nice way to sum it up. And then when you marry it with the spiritual and the mystical side that you talked about earlier, you'll realize that human beings, when we apply ourselves, we are literally unstoppable.
But then I once heard a great man say,
The great man is in the room with us right now.
I love when we cut the cameras off, one of our guest members here was telling us about, can you repeat that again? Can I give him the mic?
He said manifestation it's not about manifestation, it's about preparation.
Yeah, but the part that resonated with me, he was like, the Quran and the Bible, these books were created for the unprepared mind to prepare it.
Oh, you said that?
But when
I didn't even hear that.
wait, there's a second part.
Drop in bars. Okay, sorry.
But when you God, I'm already so bad at this. And then you interrupt me. There's no way I'm going to do this.
Repeat it.
So he basically said the Quran and the Bible were created for the unprepared mind to prepare it. So when you give that kind of knowledge to the unprepared mind, it can go one of both ways.
That's true.
That's kind of what you said, right?
Yeah.
And I love that because the manifestation has been with us in the East for thousands of years. And then it was taken out of context and it has become something that's very evil in the sense that it separates you from the self. Anything that separates you from the self, and in Farsi, the word for self is khud, and the word for God is khuda. So anything that separates the khud from the khuda, the self from God, the self from their higher self, and your purpose here on life is considered evil. Now, you can get into the mysticism of it and how it is being used. That's a story for another day. But either way, it can be one of both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It is true. You can use it to... There is a lot of work by this doctor. I think he's really famous.
You mean, I know who you're going to say. What's his name? Oh, my gosh.
You know, he's written a lot of books also. I forgot his name.
I know his name. I literally thought about Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Exactly. So he's done a lot of work because his story was also really interesting. I think he
healed himself. He was actually completely paralyzed.
Exactly.
But it's actually interesting when you look at the research he's done. Again, and he speaks a lot about placebo. There's actually a book he has called The Power of Placebo. So placebo is a very much real thing. But even when we look at manifestation, there's also quantum physics that explains it.
Yeah.
This is hard for me to get into because I'm not a physicist, but there's something called the double slit experiment, okay, which shows that this is actually something that a lot of people talk about when they try to prove manifestation, if it's real or not. But basically, it's a really mind-bending quantum physics experiment where what happens is it shows that waves of light change when they're being observed. So waves of light and matter, like even electrons, change their state when they're observed. So there was a light, I'm going to butcher this, but when no one is watching, okay, the waves act and they exist in a state of pure potential, okay? But when people observe them, those waves only go in one direction. And so it's saying, this experiment really proves that when there's a witness, you're literally changing matter.
Okay, so when I said in my dreams, I would look at the matter around me and then give it direction to become a scooter. That's exactly what I did in my dreams.
Yeah,
no?
yeah, but that you do that in reality as well.
Exactly.
And then there's also...
However, what I've learned through my journey is that the transition between the spiritual and the physical is very difficult. So in the spiritual realm, you can do that constantly and instantly. Whether it's going to transition or translate into the physical world, it doesn't work the same.
Yeah, it's true.
So the you know how like light takes like time to reach the earth from the sun? It's kind of the same way. Like it takes time for it to form and take a physical form.
Yeah.
So when we say like instant manifestation, because money is so fluid, it could be money. Like you could manifest money really easily. But sometimes states of mind or big items take a really long time for you to manifest.
But that's also a belief. It's interesting because you can break anything down to a belief system. If you believe that...
I'm just saying normally they would take long.
No, because why would it take long? Because you'd have to break down so many subconscious beliefs in order to have that big thing. Because you have so many blockages that are telling you can't have it. But if you actually, no, because if you think about it, if you actually really, really, really believed you could have it, you would. Like right now, if I tell you you can
Okay, then I want a house
yeah.
tomorrow.
But you have to believe that you can have one. It's not about wanting it. It's about believing you can have it. And that's the essence of manifestation.
I like this is when like what he says applies. Manifestation is also preparation. You can do that preparation physically
Yeah.
or emotionally and intellectually.
Yeah.
So like when you say like it is about belief, you are right. Like I do personally, I feel like I don't manifest things as well anymore. Not only because like I wouldn't say like my water got impure or like muddy. I would say because I now have bricks or like blockages in my thoughts where like when I was a child, like I knew that like things were handed out to me, like people would be taking care of me. And then when I became an adult, because I had to do all those things for myself, I now have to think of logical ways to achieve that.
But
So
there's
it like in my mind I do want a house, but like it's also like impossible for me to get a house because I'm like then I have to save money and I have to do this
again, that's why like if you think about tawakkul, which is trusting God, you don't ask how or why. If you think about manifestation, if you actually want to get what you want, you just think of the end result, the end feeling. You do not create obstacles and barriers. You do not use logic to manifest.
But you understand that those blockages are because of our previous traumas.
100%, but that's what we said, right? That's all your subconscious mind. You're right now trying to think of things consciously, reasons as to why you can't have what you want. But when we manifest, if you manifest from your subconscious mind and you clear out those blockages and that trauma.
I think if we want to sum it up, I don't think that manifestation is evil. I think the usage of it and how it's used is problematic. Evil. However, also if someone, for say, was interested to manifest certain things, like how can I change? I think we need another podcast where we talk about belief. Because it's very difficult for me, for everything that I've gone through in my life, to believe that I can have a country. Like, I really want to have a home where I root myself. I want a homeland.
You know what that is?
I don't have that.
But that
and it's not up
the
to
episode where we're going to get into belief and we're going to talk about trauma. We're going to talk about internalized belief systems that we have.
Can my beliefs be so strong that, like I change the world?
Yes. But that's, when people, there's nothing more powerful than collective intention. When you all believe something, it becomes real. It manifests much faster. That's literally what you said earlier.
Okay, so can we all believe that the UAE will give residency to all people who are born and raised here and lived here for decades?
I don't know if we should keep that in the podcast, girl.
No, I think they're starting to.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
Is my belief like strong enough for that to happen?
Guys, cut that out.
No, really, because some things are like governments.
Again, there's way too many people here that don't believe it's possible, so it probably won't happen. You need collective belief to change things on a larger scale. Like if you want world peace, every single person in the world needs to believe that world peace is possible. Because there's so much that we're inundated with that shows us the counter, the opposite, that there's war, that there's chaos, that to believe in peace is extremely difficult, which is exactly what the people that are ruling the world want you to think. They want you to think that you can't have peace. They want you to believe that poverty can't end. They want to maintain the status quo. But when you believe those things are possible and when everyone believes them, that's when real change takes place.
Do you have certain like blockages with your manifestation?
With certain things, yes. I manifest something so easily because they're not even a thought. For example, I've always had a really successful career path and it wasn't even something I consciously tried to manifest. With other things like love and relationships, I, for years, thought I wanted certain things. Like, for years, I was like, I want to get married. I want to meet someone. I'm like, again, not to boast about myself, but I think I'm like a really loving, sweet person. I'm the kindest person in relationships. I'm the sweetest person with men, to a point where you could argue, like, like have a little bit of higher standards and, treat yourself better. But I was manifesting from such a place of lack and such a place of trauma. I dug into my trauma last year a lot, and I realized I have so many bad internalized beliefs about relationships because of my parents, and I was manifesting and attracting all of that. I was replicating patterns that I saw growing up, and that's exactly what I was attracting into my life. So again, you're not manifesting what you want, you're manifesting what you believe. Everything is a reflection of what you believe and feel about yourself. So in order to actually have what you want, you have to have good, pure thoughts and focus on the end feeling. So when you manifest, always do it with intention and do it with the end feeling in mind, not the end result, which is tied to this worldly life. Always connect with your higher self and with what you actually want, not what with the world tells you you should want. And with that, I think we can have
And remember that you're a soul on a journey here, and your entire purpose is to evolve. And if those things are not adding to your evolution as a soul, then they were not for you to begin with. So detach really easily. If it does not come to your mind, it does to your life. It does not take away from your power of being a creator.
100%.
Don't doubt yourself either. So if it doesn't come to you, it has a reason. But if you're manifesting it and you're trying to get something, make sure it's for all the right purposes. So
no, that's beautiful. And actually, to touch on what you said about the soul, we are not. So one of my favorite quotes ever is, "You are not a body with a soul. You are a soul and you have a body." So what you said, perfect. And we're gonna end it with a question. Since we talked about good and evil, first of all, what do you think manifestation is? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's evil? Do you think it's real? And also tell us, has this podcast shifted your perspective of manifestation? As always, there is no right or wrong answers. It is simply about remembering, reaching, and knowing that what we seek is also seeking us.